a man whose decisions move billions.
Our vision is to deliver 10 gigawatts. It was a joke.
A lot of challenges, of course. Yani it's not all rosy and red carpets.
I see also a lot of great minds today.
Didn't understand anything that was happening. It didn't make sense to you whatsoever.
And you have to push yourself, by the way.
Want to make sure that you overcome. You're putting this also as well on them.
So that's, in a young age, give me a huge exposure about diversity.
The most important asset are the people.
Hearing what is being discussed at this closed room.
Challenging yourself is a wonderful thing. Getting out of a comfort zone is a strength.
A new challenge, which is a quite big challenge.
It sounds like you thrive on challenges.
I actually like it to be very short, quick to the point and close.
Every business today faces a choice. Keep doing things the old way or take a smarter path forward. CES helps entities across Saudi Arabia make that shift. Our team of experts builds strategies that cut waste, control risk, and improve efficiency, all while protecting the environment. Whether you run a factory, a utility, or a government project, we make sustainability work in real numbers, not just words. CES, advancing responsibly.
Every creator has a story. Every brand has a message. Every event has a moment worth remembering. At Pod Media Network, we make sure the world sees it and hears it. From recording and live coverage to editing, we turn ideas into productions that move people and build brands. Wherever you are, across Saudi Arabia, your story starts here. Voices that connect, stories that inspire.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome to a new episode of 2030 Leaders Mic. Today we're joined by a leader whose work doesn't just influence a company, it shapes an entire sector. A strategist who stands at the intersection of finance, energy, and national transformation. A man whose decisions move billions, power cities, and help define the future of Saudi Arabia's energy landscape. Our guest is Abdulhameed Al Muhaidib, Chief Financial Officer of ACWA Power, one of the most influential companies driving the kingdom's renewable energy, ambitious giga projects, and global expansion. From investment banking to leading the financial engine of a company operating in more than 12 countries. From structuring some of the world's largest renewable energy projects to navigating risk, growth, and transformation at unprecedented scale. Al Muhaidib has built a reputation of precision, clarity, and leadership under pressure. In this episode, we'll explore the mindset behind the numbers and the human behind the story, one of the most important financial leaders in the region. Abdulhameed is also a loving son and a loving father. And we want to dive deep today into who is Abdulhameed Al Muhaidib. Ahlan wa sahlan, Abdulhameed.
Ahlan wa sahlan.
So who is Abdulhameed?
First of all, thanks for the introduction. You surprised me with all the content and really appreciate all what you have mentioned. It's definitely a great pleasure to be here with you and with the audience. طبعا my objective really is to sit and share some of the stories that I have been going through, to share ultimately some of the learnings that I have seen. Some of it become a success and others has actually become a failure. And with that, maybe I will quickly introduce myself. My name is Abdulhameed Al Muhaidib. I've been with ACWA Power, as you highlighted, for the last 15 years. Maybe before that, I was on the banking sector, lived and was born in Saudi, in Riyadh, spent most of my schooling time in Saudi before going to the US for further education.
La, wait a minute, I'm going to stop you. You're going to give us your whole life story in 2 minutes. We're going to stop, we're going to go back from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, I want you to tell me, who are you as a person? Away from titles, away from what you studied, who are you?
So as a person, I've been, I born in Riyadh. at that time, say on the 80s, where Riyadh was much, much smaller than what it is today. Life was completely different, conquering our life, and football in the street is what we do every single day. At a time that I would say life was extremely basic, but at the same time enjoyable, and I like basically how simple, but at the same time rich in culture and experience and harmony from the different people living with you in the same neighborhood. That time that it was. So that was basically the early days of
So
my.
you're one of 6, mashallah. You have 6 siblings.
In our family, we are actually a quite sizable families for the families that is basically at this time. But at that time, it was actually the normal size of the Saudi families.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we are actually 6 boys and 2 girls,
Mashallah.
and I fit just in the middle, almost. So
So how did that play a role when you were growing up? Yani you were fighting with your brothers, you were caring with the younger. I think there was a nice fact that you were taking care of also of your younger siblings.
So when you talk about big families, and this is one of the things that when I moved to the US and studied there, a lot of my classmates were impressed with the size of the family. Said, "Wow, how come 8 is living in one place?" And this is at a time where it was used to be normal in Saudi, but it was not maybe the norm in let's say in the US and Europe at that time. And I do feel that there is definitely a lot of advantages of having a bigger family. So you cannot be bored at any time. There will be there is somebody at home that you will play with, you will fight with, you will enjoy your time with. There is always a fight on the plates when the food comes on the table. There is definitely a good learning you take and from your elder brothers, and some learning you share with your younger one. So somebody to look up to, somebody to teach and try to shape up, and that's definitely interesting for a big family. So as you rightly mentioned, one of the things that I used to do actually at that time, I used to be actually very disciplined at school when it comes to homeworks, when it comes to exams. I take it in a serious note, even though that I'm actually not in the top of my class. Discipline does not mean that basically you are top performer, but discipline meaning that you take things seriously when it comes to education. So I try to pass that same discipline to my younger one. So I remember I come back from school, I close my room and start studying my exams, finishing all my homeworks before I open the door again and start living the normal life at home. And then as my younger brothers get a bit older, I start to also make sure that they do the same. But they don't do the same, so I end up actually taking them inside with me in the room, locking the door, taking sure that they are doing the homeworks before I let them go.
And nobody asked you to do this. This was on your own.
Definitely, yes. This was purely out of myself, and I had my brothers to look up to, but they have also different characters. So one of them used to do something similar, the other one is completely different. But subhanallah, this is natural. That came out of me when I was young.
The sense of responsibility.
Exactly, yes. So that also shows a different, you can feel that not everyone is the same. When I was at that time, I remember my older brothers, for example, one of them, they like to study everything with like a private tutor comes to him. So, and naturally, that my father, that when I grow up, actually he asked for the same. But I was telling him that I don't need that tutor anymore. Maybe I need him when I ask, based on demand, on a specific subject, specific matter, not on everything, because I prefer to do it myself. So that was it was a bit difficult in the beginning to convince my father, until he waited for a couple of semesters, checking my performance, based on which he decided, yes, maybe you are right, you know what you want to do, so I will let you decide on how to study separately, or you want to have your own private tutor at specific topics.
MashaAllah. So you were independent and responsible at a very young age.
That is true. That is
MashaAllah.
true. Yes.
You didn't get fed up until now? Well, it's still there.
It is still there. I think that's something that's difficult to change.
So you grew up in Riyadh, but you had the opportunity also to be very exposed to different cultures. Tell us about that.
Yeah, maybe before I jump there, one of the interesting stories about and you like to be independent and the disciplined. You know, in Saudi, at the age of 16, 17, you can get a tasrih for the driving license, which is the temporary driving license, which is 1 year before you get the final driving license.
Yeah.
So I was pushing for it, and basically my father was against it because it's a bit risky driving, and my elder brother had an accident earlier, so he was trying to push me back on that. And then I understand that my father was supporting any of his friends when they come to him and ask for this driving license for their sons. So I was going there and crying, said, "You helped everyone except me."
Except me, yeah.
I pushed a lot until I get it, and alhamdulillah, I got it at that time, and I showed the discipline and ended up actually driving at that period alone, and everything went well until today, alhamdulillah.
Why did you want to drive? Why did you want to drive so badly?
First of all, from a capacity point of view, I have felt that I can do it. And second is actually linked to the discipline that, with a big family, you don't want to wait for all your brothers and sisters to come to the car to go to school. I want to be independent. I want to have my own car and go to school at the right time, come back at the right time, rather than being linked with the bigger group.
Right.
Yes.
Because usually kids in that age, they want to go because ويفحطوا, they want to, they have a whole different
That's true.
reason.
True.
And your reason is because you wanted to be prompt going to school at time and being independent.
And also to be independent, even also to be honest. Also on the weekend, you want to be completely separate in your schedule compared to being committed with where the driver can drop every one of your brothers and sisters before he comes to you. So all that chess game that your mother have to play every weekend, you try to avoid it with having your own car independent from the rest. Yes.
MashaAllah.
Back to your last question, when it comes to diversity, and one of the good things, to be honest, my father has promoted at a very early stage of our life is that every summer we go, the summer break used to be 2.5 to 3 months at that time, and then of course it reduced to 2 months. So we make sure that we go he made sure that we go 1 month at least in a summer camp. And summer camp being actually completely away from the family. So I started quite early. I think it was grade 5 or grade 6 when I went for the first time. And the first summer camp was actually in Switzerland, that is in French. So not only that I don't speak the language, you live at a completely lifestyle that is different from what is the norms in Saudi. It gives you a completely different exposure. And at that time, I remember things that we do that even starting from going there, carrying your own passport and traveling alone at such an age, getting at that time travel check, they call it. And you cannot give you cash, somebody can steal it in the way, so you get a travel check, and then it's like 4 or 5 checks separately every time you go to some of these brokers or banks. I forgot now, but you liquidate one of them to use it. That's impressive experience in how independent you become at such a young age. And now going there and living the school experience. So first you're learning the language. Second is you learning in a big time the diversity. So at that time, you're getting exposed, sitting in a room with 3 different people from different cultures, different religion, different ethnics, and you come with a background of how strong Saudi is in culture and religion and all of that. So that's in a young age give me a huge exposure about diversity. Of course, in the beginning we don't accept it. We don't understand it. But as I continue to go there, you start to understand, you start to accept, you start to have a more open mind toward this diversity. Second is that the learning curve is just impressive, not on the French. I lost all the French actually I learned there, but on the other things. So when you talk about discipline, how you wake up every day in a certain timing, you have to make your bed. At every week, you have to take your bed and throw it in the laundry. There is a number code for your own laundry. All these things that we never actually had it in our life before. And then food
on time.
Yes, food on time. This is the breakfast. Take it or leave it. There is. I don't like tomato. I don't like eggs. It doesn't work there. You have to eat whatever is there, and you have to eat at certain times. And then also what you do in your free time. How do they organize your time? How they give you the optionalities, different games you get exposed expose and opportunity to interact with people in different games. So that's definitely another exposure aside from the classes itself. So I felt, to be honest, this is one of the things that really shaped me up or helped me in shaping up as I grow up. And that's why actually not only I loved the experience and continued until I went to the university, but also nowadays I made sure that all my kids actually go through the same experience, not as maybe difficult and disciplined as it used to be in the past, but at least some of the same flavors there.
Is it really that it's not the same? I think it's the same. The summer camps are the same, but maybe the way we are raising now our kids is giving them more responsibility. Do you think so? I think maybe we're giving them more responsibility. Because we had this talk. We had the similar experience going to summer camps. And we both ended up sending our kids also to summer camps because it was a wonderful experience, etc. But you think now that it's easier?
It's you're right. It's different, and maybe one of the things that actually could trigger that difference is that maybe at our time there is no connectivity. So we go there without a laptop, without iPad, without a phone, without an internet.
You get to talk to our parents once a week.
Exactly, and you have to make sure that you have the card, you save the number, and you ring at the right time to get whoever you can get to speak with. Whereas today, because they are engaged with you almost on a daily basis, they call you in the morning when they have the phone, when they call you in the evening. So maybe that's disconnect could help in a certain way how to make this experience more challenging. Yeah, we felt homesick after a few days. Yeah, it's completely different.
Yeah, that's true.
And you have to wait for a full week to talk to somebody in the family.
That's true, but when the time finishes, we didn't want to leave.
Yes, that's true.
We didn't want to leave.
After 4 weeks, 6 weeks, you get adjusted to it.
Yeah, you're enjoying it so much. And the kids today still, they don't want to leave.
That's true. That's true.
So, to be fair, it's a wonderful experience. You finished school in Saudi, you went to summer camps in different countries in Europe, and then you finished and you went to university.
So the experience been in US, in UK, and in Switzerland. These are the summer camps that I've been through, which is actually, as I mentioned, as I continue to graduate from one camp to another, it's also giving me different exposure. That's definitely something I really enjoyed, and some of them were more of a kind of family-oriented small camps. The other one is more of a British system, almost like an army. Other one was more of a getting ready for university, so it was different structure, more free time, more you're on your own, manage yourself. So each one has a bit of different flavor, which I appreciated. After that, yes, actually it came at a time which is just after September 11. I went to the US, and this what a timing! It was a very tough timing. But, following my brother's footstep, I decided to go and study in the U.S.
Okay.
At that time, it was a lot of the Saudis coming out of the U.S. back to Saudi due to the difficulties basically they are facing and different things. Like, for example, I can give you a few examples. You start with the migration. There is a different route that we go through, and you spend easily 4 or 5 hours just on checking and validating different questions before you go inside. And even after passing the immigration, by law, we were required to go back to the immigration office after 1 month. So basically, I have to go and do almost like a check-in that, yes, I'm now have been 1 month in the country and things are moving in the right direction when it comes to the education.
How did that make you feel?
It's definitely challenging, and it's definitely not a good and pleasant experience. But at the same time, I think it goes back to the discipline that if you have made a decision and that decision was associated with a certain timing, the timing was not good, definitely. So at that time, a lot of people said, it's not a good time for you to go to the US. Maybe you consider something like a lot of other people went to Canada, to UK, to New Zealand, Australia. But if you want to go there, you should be ready to accept that challenge. And along with the challenge, that there will be a discomfort for at least 2 years of your life there. So I think I assessed myself, and me and my cousin decided to go. Definitely, I've been in Florida, which is more of a multi-national state. Miami, I would say, covered by different, I would say, ethnics, mainly Latinos. So it was easy to blend with compared to other cities that will be, at that time, more challenging to live in. So it went well, eventually. A lot of people supportive. Not only a lot of people supportive, it was supportive during our time in education. A lot of hand-holding happened. So
Why?
Why?
Why
No,
was
because
there hand-holding? From the university itself? From the
from no specific
professors?
people, yeah, exactly. Because of course they know that the difficulty of that timing. At that time you can, if you look and open the newspaper, some incidents happen here or there. So it's definitely a difficult timing, especially in the beginning. And I'm sure you have heard it at that time, back in 2001, 2002, it was difficult.
Exactly, but it's nice to hear that there were actually some professors that
Of course,
took
extremely
that in
supportive.
consideration and went the extra mile to actually
Absolutely.
support.
No, absolutely, they were supportive, and to be honest, also in Miami, nothing has happened, and overall it went very, very well. I think, of course, I do appreciate all the support, not only from the professors, but everyone around us. And that actually maybe linked to one of the points we mentioned earlier about how diversity has supported the open mindset that they had specifically in these cities compared to others. So the more diversity you have in the cities, the more acceptance to the different cultures, different ethnics, different religion, the more open-minded you become, and things will move at that right direction. And guess what? Today, just to link it into the same story, Miami is one of the top performance cities in the U.S. from growth, from economy, and from everything else.
Abdulhameed, I'm going to sidetrack a little bit, but as you're saying this, I'm thinking of Riyadh today. We have become a melting pot. It's so much diversity that's happening here. All different nationalities, people coming from around the world. If we think back 20 years ago, the acceptance was minimal because people were not exposed. Today, the Saudis that have never traveled anywhere,
correct,
that have been here all their lives, that have not been, but they became exposed due to all the people that are coming in from all around the world. And the acceptance is unbelievable. They're just relaxed and they're comfortable. All kinds of different ethnicities are coming in with different cultures, with different looks, with different, mindsets. And they feel comfortable because the Saudis are also now very comfortable and welcoming and relaxed and accepting. So to your point, exposure to diversity is very important. It makes a big difference in the mindset.
No, everyone is impressed actually about this. How,
alhamdulillah,
it was in Riyadh is really becoming not only the regional hub, but it's the level of diversity is just impressive, and how people has adjusted to the acceptance, as you rightly highlighted, is amazing.
Very true. So sorry, I sidetracked, but it just dawned on me. So you were in the States, you finished. Well, what happened there? Was there a milestone, something that happened when you were studying in which you studied finance? Correct. So
Yeah.
you studied finance. Why did you study finance?
So, at even at our time, I don't think we were as sophisticated as the young generation today, where they ask a lot on what to study and what is. They do a lot of research that, at least myself, I haven't done it. So for me, it was fairly straightforward. At the time of the high school, at the time of school in general, I used to love math. I love playing with the numbers. I enjoyed it much. And when I saw one of my brothers went to finance and he was recommending it, I said, and my father was also supporting that direction. I said, yes, let's go ahead. And I went to study finance. It's associated with the math that I used to study.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think overall that was the direction I took. And to be honest, just to link it on the selection, and I didn't even know what is the optionalities we have
Okay.
at that time. Seriously.
Well, I guess you were lucky that you loved math, yani.
Yes,
So it just
that's the
fits.
yes, but I mean, just linking it to the today, the experience, people think about it considerably. And
Now that you know all what's open around, would have you studied something different?
yes, maybe yes.
Really? What?
Yeah, and I would, and if I will have to do it again, I will study engineering first, and then I will do an MBA. That is basically the finance business angle, anchoring on the engineering.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What kind of engineering?
Industrial engineering or mechanical engineering, even though they are completely different. But actually, I feel that after going through the whole experience, that it's something that could be of my interest as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
And to be honest, I see also a lot of great minds today. When you just also look at their backgrounds, most of them, they had an engineering background and then they went and did the business through an MBA or a master, because engineering definitely get you exposed to the manufacturing, to the operation at the field first. So you get the field experience before you graduate and go to the operation, and then later on to the strategy and finance and performance of that field that you have run. So it's a great kind of build up to the experience from the basics element of it until the strategic direction of that sector, let's say.
I hear you. My bachelor's was in accounting, but then maybe the funnest things that I do is going visiting factories and industries. I actually enjoy that, but if I understand, it's the other way around. Yeah,
Correct. And I actually also
it works. It still works.
It works.
It still works.
Yes, I maybe I missed it in the school, but I actually tried to do it in an actual life experience. So I spent some time when I worked with ACWA Power on the finance, and then I decided to go and work on the sites. So I went to run project for 6 years of my experience, working every day, going to the sites, and then I moved back to the corporate life, I would say. So
what were you doing in the field?
Actually, I was running 2 different projects, as a project lead for these power plants.
Okay.
So that's where I felt also the engineering element is missing when I was there in the site.
And that was by choice? Well, you were put in that position?
The opportunity came and I said yes. So that's what also I think important. Maybe we're jumping
okay.
there. But in reality, what happened usually, people get sometimes opportunities based on, I would say, some of the people recommendation. So maybe focusing on this specific example, I was working daily on the corporate finance element of the company. And one day, a call came and they said, we are winning a new project, renewable project, and we want you to be the CEO of that project company. So it's a different location. It's completely different exposure than what I'm doing on a daily basis. But I immediately said yes. I felt it was a golden opportunity to get out of your comfort zone, try something different, something new. That's already the management of the company have already trusted you with that opportunity. Because when the phone call come, it means that some people already thought about it, who are much more senior than you, who are much more wise than you, and they have collectively decided that you can make it, or they can give you the opportunity with the confidence that you can deliver. And this is one of the opportunities that get you out of your comfort zone, let you try something different, but also enrich your experience to make you ready even for the next move as well.
Well, Abdulhameed, it sounds like you thrive on challenges.
Mm.
Yani so far, most of the time, even going to university, and you went in a time and you decided to continue going, it was a challenge. You're in a comfortable position with what you're doing. You get an opportunity for something that's challenging, totally out of what you know and what you do. You go for it. So
Well, you opened my mind. I never thought about it this way.
yeah,
to be honest.
but yani
Yeah,
this is
now
there's a pattern.
yeah, and actually, maybe when I think about it when I was younger, and now I can correlate and I can say that you're absolutely right, which is good because I used to be maybe earlier thinking too much before you do that any move, strong move. But at an even young time of my life, I used to push myself, even if I don't know it. But I want to push myself out of this comfort zone because I always feel that after I push myself, I will be much more comfortable than sitting inside my comfort zone and just staying there. Actually, when you just highlight this, I now reflect on it, and your point definitely makes sense.
Mashallah. So let's go back again because we are jumping, but it's okay. So you finished university. Nothing was extraordinary that was in university, and there was no life-changing aha moment that happened there. But you were exposed to diversity. You came back to Saudi.
I think one of the interesting things that happened there in the US. So at that time we don't have what my son and the generation today have here in Saudi, which is the IB system. At that time, all of us studied high school as per the government standard of education. So ultimately, you end up going from here to the US. You have to pass the TOEFL at that time, or you have to take a kind of a 1 year or less, depending on your level of English, of intensive English program before you go to the university. So I actually started that. And the minute I started that, I felt that I'm under pressure because all my peers in Riyadh, they started university. I feel that I'm going to miss 1 year of my life because of this intensive program. So I was, first of all, I pushed myself to finish it as fast as I can. So I ended up, I think, finishing this intensive program in 9 months, 9 months or less. And then immediately I finished in the summer. So I jumped in the first semester in the summer. I could not wait even to the fall. And then I squeezed the schedule. At that time, usually people take 15 to 17 hours maximum. I end up taking some semesters with 21 credit just to recover, just to catch up. And then I finished everything, which is the university and the 9 months of intensive program at 3.5 years.
MashaAllah.
So I pushed everything every summer. I never, actually, summer 1 and 2, I never missed it in the university. I pushed everything just to make sure that I am up to the challenge and I can deliver as good as the people. And I end up finishing with even ahead of a lot of people, of my peers here in Saudi. So that's one of the things that I felt under pressure while I was in the US.
Okay, but this was something that came from within you.
Yes, definitely.
Nobody pressured you on this. No, you had no external pressure. This was something that was from you. Now, obviously, challenging yourself is a wonderful thing. It's a strength. Getting out of a comfort zone is a strength. Wanting to make sure that you are catching up and not being behind is a strength. But it's also, as you correctly said, it puts a lot of pressure on yourself. So from your personal experience of having this in you, now, would you want your kids to have the same strife as you, or to be a little bit more relaxed, or today, now, at this age and time?
It's a good question. And the answer, which is the reality, which I'm doing, is that I'm trying to keep everyone to live based on his base. This is my base, but it does not have to be the same base. Actually, funny enough, you are saying it, because my elder son is always saying to me and to my wife that I don't want to live like my father. I want to be enjoying life, working good, but not too good, or at least let's say challenging work, but not too much challenging.
Yeah.
I want to have a normal life. I come, I sit with my kids, I spend some time. Not that pressure.
Oops, that's a message.
That's a message, yeah. That's true. You are right. I never pushed it. I'm pushing for any kind of the discipline to be in the right level, but everyone should live in his base. And by the way, it's not like because I'm enjoying this space, a lot of people will not enjoy it. Actually, they feel panic. And I can correlate because sometimes I go with somebody even higher base than me, and then I said, I don't know how he's doing it. It's too tiring. I want to just finish this 2 days with him and then let's relax. And actually, you see it with a lot of your friends or family when you travel. Who usually take the lead in when you go out for a vacation or for a short trip with your friends or family? The one with the fastest pace. He's already organizing all the restaurants, where you go, and then he doesn't give you breaks. From a restaurant to somewhere to go, he already locked your schedule. He said, come on, I'm going for vacation. I need a break. So you can see that people are living in different ways to the extent that I feel under pressure with some people. So I guess back to my son, he's feeling the same pressure that I have with my brother when it comes to this base.
Right.
The conclusion, everyone has to live the base that he's enjoying.
Fair enough. That's a good conclusion. طيب, so you came back and you started your first job in
HSBC, the banking sector. Yeah, the banking sector, sorry.
Doing?
So when I came back, of course, coming from the finance background, the minutes I reached Riyadh, then my father told me, look, there is one guy in HSBC you have to work with. He is really sharp and you just came back from school, you know nothing. So it's important that you work with HSBC and you work with this guy. And I was, of course, blessed. And there is a good relationship between both of them to give me that opportunity, because at the end, what is the chances that you apply for a bank and then you end up being accepted and then being accepted also to work with that guy? So actually, that when I went to meet the guy, so I was finally accepted to work in HSBC Saudi, but he told me, sorry, but I will have to leave because I live. My next assignment already been given to me to work in Dubai. So I told him, it's okay, I can move with you. And he said, yeah, but it's different organization altogether now, and you will have to reapply there, and I will support you, of course, but you have to move with me. And when I went and also talked to my father, he said, yes, yeah, you should actually move with him. So anyways, I applied. I went through these interviews and ultimately get accepted. Then I said, okay, if you have to go to Dubai, I have to go with you. So he's my new family,
Okay.
I took that job, and what gonna surprise you, actually, before that, I never been to UAE. Never in my life. I never been to Dubai at that time. So I reached Dubai, I think at that time, I don't know, like Friday or Saturday. I slept in the hotel. They gave it to me, and then the next day I woke up and I went to the HSBC first day in work. So in one day, I
new country, new home, new job, new everything.
Yes.
Okay.
So it was an interesting journey.
How did you feel about that?
The good thing, to be honest, that I still did not had an emotional attachment with Riyadh, because I just came back from the US. I spent a few weeks, and okay, I start to sit with my friend, with the family, but that usually to be the standard. After which I go back to the US. There was no emotional attachment to Riyadh at that time, and also, to be honest, at that age, you are still independent, living alone, and I spent a lot of time living in the US with my cousin, with my friends, and I didn't have that close attachment to the family. So it was reasonably acceptable and fine moving to Dubai. But of course, it was a challenging experience waking up every day, from 8 to 5, working in a completely different environment, working for the first time.
Yeah, working for the first
Well,
time
yeah.
wherever.
Yeah, and of course, this is also, I give the credit to HSBC. It's an environment that giving you, it's a very strong in culture. The discipline is extremely high. The level of professionalism is extremely high. They shaped me up when it comes to first exposure, first experience. So, I'm really grateful for that experience. Spent 2 years there, and it was definitely an excellent journey. And I think I learned a lot from the working with the team, but also one of the great things that actually felt that they helped me a lot in HSBC was they had like a college in UK that they send their fresh grads there, and they spend there a couple of weeks. And one of the great things they do is that you have to present the case. Like they give you a case, and then the whole idea is not to present the case, but to help you stand up and present things in front of others, but in a quite different and aggressive way. So I think that was one of the best. And of course, you do that at the time in the university, but the way that we used to do it in HSBC, I think it gave me a lot of the strong skills on how to stand up and present today.
Okay.
Yeah, they push you to complete a certain exercise at a certain timeline. Then you stand up and talk in front of a lot of top-notch people that they will stop you every second and challenge you on some of the points and put you under the heat. And that way, and then you have to do it and redo it 100 times. That way that it gives you all the experience of standing up with your point, structuring your speech, building up the right momentum, how to talk while others talking, and kind of navigate to reach to the level of sharing your point. So all of these things has helped me at that time.
How important do you say today this skill of communication, of giving a message through very clearly, of being able to navigate discussions and negotiations? How important is that?
Well, extremely important. And very, very, very important. And to be honest, I think one of the things that some of the people are progressing within organizations compared to others is communication. So I will put, if you have all the professional, let's say, books that help people to move from one level to another, at least 30% of that box will be focused on communication, how to communicate, how to articulate, how to build the right story and say it in the right time. So communication is extremely, extremely important.
So your advice for anybody that is starting up their life is to start maybe with brushing up their skills in communication.
Not only when they start up their life, in every single level of their life. And today, I have a lot of great talent within my team. When in a specific mission, a specific meeting, sometimes you end up sending not the best talent, but the best talent that's the best communicator, the best talent that can communicate this message, maintaining the boundaries, passing the message in the right manner, right structure, to make sure that the overall relationship maintained. Today, another example is that you have top-notch guy that you want to promote him, but today the challenge is that he's extremely strong from a skill set point of view, but when it comes to communication, he needs big time to develop. And the next level that you want to promote him is people management, is not anymore task management. And that level, it's very difficult to promote him if he doesn't have the right skill sets of communication to manage the team that he will be managing. So that's why I'm saying it's not from the beginning of life, but at every single stage of your experience and your journey, you have to continue to develop, you have to continue scale up that specific communication.
You know, so many studies nowadays are talking about the difference between the IQ and the EQ, right? The emotional intelligence versus and more now studies are showing how that is actually one of the most important skills that people need for themselves, first of all, and then to deal with others. So, how do you pick your team? How do you pick them, and then how do you train them? Malish, again, we're Star Trek, but it's okay. Yani, how do you choose them, and how do you train them, and how do you project your leadership on them and create new leaders that have the skills that you have obviously learned and realize the importance of? What do you do?
First of all, when it comes to a team, the team has to be complementing each other rather than all of them have the same skill sets. So that's definitely important because the diversity of experience is giving us the strength that we are having today. When we started, let's say, or when I started basically with my team, you end up actually taking over, or let's say, starting with the team that already exists. So the first thing you do is that you don't break something that was already working fine, but you try to improve it. Communication, as I mentioned earlier, is definitely important. And as I have my team, I build on their success and try to improve what is required to be improved. So, more specifically, you have a lot of great talents within my team that they have the operation excellence. So they can deliver all the tasks. They are extremely independent. I don't need to be interfering with their business. And I give them that kind of independence that they want to perform at their best. But maybe what is lacking for this specific individual, maybe a communication, that's something that is a gap that you need to develop. Success planning is something that is maybe they are missing, so I need to develop for them to get their the talents, learning from them, and also to make sure that we have the second band is ready for taking over later on. So sometimes you pass the message directly. So certain things that you tell them that, by the way, this is something that while you have all these great skills, this is something that we want to work on together. So actually, it's not only you, me and you will start taking this session with this coach to develop it. And later on, maybe you do it with him and then let him continue by himself. So this way, he doesn't feel that it's completely, let's say, negative. Sometimes people, depending on you have to, and this is maybe linked to your emotional intelligence point, that you have to know the person before you decide to take a direction there. Second point is that about success planning. Whenever I take a meeting with him and external meetings, I ask him always to bring all his team or the young talents that he has in his team. Later on, I try to embed this as a culture. So I said, okay, this is what you have to do every time. And then later on, they do it by themselves. So, talking about the team, as I mentioned, is not like picking up the team. It's that, let's say, getting having build up on what the team already have to improve them eventually. So this is on the, let's say, what we need to develop on the team. What is how to design the team. Openness and is something very, very important when it comes to having the team. Maybe I can give you an example and then I can explain it better. Every time that you end up having a big team, there is always lack of communication that created most of the panic or most of the failure on achieving the targets. So continue with these short but open meetings, like everyone is invited to these meetings, giving the update to everyone at the same time, having the frequency of the meetings on a weekly basis allows us actually to transform. Because what I always notice that the bigger the team is or the stronger the team players, you end up with a lot of isolation and everyone is working in silos. And ultimately they miss the bigger picture and it slows us down in a way or another. So that's maybe another thing that I always try to do. And believe me, as much as you try, you still have the challenge there. It looks easy, but it's definitely very, very challenging to do.
Oh, it's challenging on all levels. I mean, the public sector has this issue, private sector has this, corporates have this issue. It's not an easy task, but it's beautiful to hear actually this direction that you're doing. And you said you embedded in the very beginning. You know, you train them to bring in their teams and have these discussions. Like, if we take that on another level, into you working in 12 different countries. So how is
14 now,
that?
actually.
14, mashallah. طيب, these are different nationalities, once again, different teams, different other. How do you manage that?
So
That's one part of the question. Before I forget, I want to add another part of the question. To what extent is there the Saudization in your teams globally?
So to the first point, it's the culture that we have embedded from the beginning, and we take it actually from the chairman. So actually, I would like to give him the credit, because to this point specifically about bringing the team members to you, I remember when I started fairly young in the organization, he was asking about me and about others at which are at that time the young talent, on every single meetings to attend with him and with the senior management of the company. So at that time, to be honest, I didn't understand why he's asking for us, what value we can add to these meetings. But reality, but attending these meetings, hearing what is being discussed at this closed room, it's just an eye-opener. The way he articulates, we learn it from him. The way we communicate, the way that these meetings are being run. And this is, by the way, also, I see it a lot in different cultures, like the Japanese, they do it a lot. You always see the big delegation comes, but they have the young talents coming with them to observe, learn, and develop them. And this is exactly how we learn. It is a culture that is embedded within ACWA Power, coming all the way from the chairman. What was the first question? Just to make sure.
Second one was as
No, the first one
that was the first one.
Okay, answered. Okay, the second one is about Saudization, and we are a company that started actually in Saudi. So our first office in Riyadh, the first couple of projects in Riyadh, and then we came at a time that the public-private partnership in the power and water sector has slowed down, and it came almost to nil, which means no new projects into place, which has unlocked the potential of ACWA Power by looking for opportunities outside. So we end up exploring the market outside, and this is where we expanded to a lot of new countries like Oman, Jordan, and Morocco, and so on. So the base is local, and with that base, and at the right time, we also start to play. We become a global player. What we learn, aside from expanding outside, is that we acquired assets, and with the assets, the richest thing actually in these assets are the people. It's not about the assets, the power plants. So we end up actually enriching the culture that we have built, which is local, with a great diversity of the team that we have embedded from these assets from the international market. That diversity has boosted our growth, has boosted the way that we interact, the challenge that we have. So one of the great things actually that people appreciate in ACWA Power is its diversity. When it comes to developing local talent, even in the global basically market, I think I shared with you my own story. So I was one of the people that actually worked for ACWA Power outside of Saudi. At a certain time, actually, all the CEOs of the project in UAE were Saudis, not only me. Today, you have Saudis sitting in our Shanghai office. The Shanghai office is run by Saudi guy. You have people working in Morocco, in Egypt. So the Saudis are actually everywhere today in our portfolio, and there is opportunity even to develop them more. When people even sitting in Saudi office, it does not mean that they are not working in the international platform of ACWA Power. We are closing transactions internationally from the big operation team we have in Saudi when it comes to development, financing, legal, technical, commercial, all of that. Finally, today, in the last couple of years, 3 years ago, we started a graduate development program that is depending mainly on local. And when we say local, it's not only Saudis. Local for us is Saudi, is UAE, is Uzbekistan. It's where we have our assets because we want to be local everywhere we go to. And these are the 3 big locations that we have today. So in the graduate development program, we have the mix of the different locals we have, and we are developing them in 2 years programs, mixing as local and international assets to develop them for becoming future leaders of the company in the different locations we have.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. Doing all of this, I'm sure there was a lot of challenges, of course. Yani, it's not all rosy and red carpets. What was the most difficult challenge that you have faced in your profession?
Well, there is a couple of very interesting challenges that we had. طبعا, one of them is that, I talked to you about discipline and how when we came as a young graduate from the school starting working, we did not understand strategy well, to be honest. And for us, everything is not cannot be calculated, cannot be
in your vision. Yeah.
In our vision, we cannot deliver it. We cannot see it. So I remember, like when I first worked with ACWA Power, and we just started. We have 2 assets under construction, and our chairman was saying that, by the way, our vision is to deliver 10 gigawatt in the next 5 years at that time. And the strategy was built on that kind of targets. For a company just started, it was a joke for us. At that time, the whole Saudi grid was around 50 giga, if I'm not mistaken. Saying 10 giga for a company just started, which means almost 10% of the total capacity of Saudi, it was, for me, there is no way on earth we can deliver on these targets. The strategy is not, I cannot digest that strategy. But part of my work being in the corporate finance is that to sell the story to the banks so we can expand our facilities, expand our growth. And to be honest, I was selling the story, but I did not believe in it at that time. And that was the first time that I really kind of execute a strategy of course, with the rest of the company. But when we delivered on it, I said, wow, there is actually a vision, there is a direction, and we delivered on it, which is something that I never expected to be happening. And after that, when people start talking about strategy and targets that is beyond our expectation, I start to believe in it. And now the same that actually I was not only starting believing it, but also now delivering with the team and also helping others, especially the young one, to deliver and think about it. So after that, there was another strategy, and then ultimately now there is the new strategy that we are now championing actually and leading all the young talent within ACWA Power that they say it's a joke to deliver this targets. That's something that, to be honest, was an eye-opener for us, for me specifically, because as I told you, like we were always measuring things by what we can see. We cannot, when we are young, I don't think we are as visionary as people who have been through the journey. And maybe this is one of the great things that we should appreciate when you sit with somebody that is more senior, and what he have been through has a value. And that value, you cannot see it now, maybe you'll see it later.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's on the strategy. Back to your question about the challenges, I remember one of the big challenges that we saw at our time, which was, I think I was like my 3rd year in ACWA Power, and 5 years total experience, so nothing. And they told us there was one of our assets that gets a fine or a termination notice because there was a failure of delivery of power for, I think it was at that time designed in a way like 3 times a year. It's trigger default. The buyer can activate a default, which he did. So ultimately, you have to let go the assets, which worth billions, or you have to pay a fine of $1 billion, almost more or less. And this is happening in front of me. So I said, it was, خلاص, we are getting, this is the default. We are a bankrupt company. خلاص, now ACWA Power at my mind at that time, it's a bankrupt company. خلاص, so there is no way we can pay a billion riyal as a fine. So it was a shock for me when I saw that, and how the discussion is happening in front of me between the management and the chairman and the CEO, the CFO at that time. And every step they do, I completely don't understand it, given the complexity and given the way that this is taking us to, where the challenge is going through. So ultimately, we said that, you know what, we will pay the fine on this project, and we will do the right mitigation when it comes to creating redundancy, building up the backup systems, so we can continue the contract without losing it or having to pay the fine again next time. So I was shocked, and how can we do it? And not only me, even our partners were shocked. Our partners at that time in this project, maybe I cannot tell you the names, giving the confidentiality at that time, but it was international partners. So they said, thank you very much, good luck, we are out.
Wow.
So they said we exit. So we bought their share at 1 riyal, because anyways we have to pay the fee for their shares as well. And we said, okay, we will continue. So we took their shares. We financed the whole expansion. It's a whole journey to explain to the banks that your 1 billion that we're going to pay, plus the additional hundreds of millions that we're going to do to build up the asset, we will get it paid over the life of the asset. But we took that risk, and it was a full transformation to the project, to shape it up, to improve the reliability, to create the redundancy, to finance the project, and then do a refinancing after a couple of years. The project today is one of the best assets of ACWA Power, and we were able to divest or recycle part of it again. So we brought in later on, after 10 years, another partners, and it's delivering a double-digit IRR. It's one of the best assets today that we have.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah.
If you look at it today, people who are coming today, it's an impressive asset, so what? But people who have seen what they have seen and seeing how did people took the decision to do all these things, it's just an impressive journey. And we have multiple experience of the same. So it takes a lot.
It takes guts. It was a very expensive lesson.
Exactly. You have to have the right people, and you have to have the right commitment. But yes, definitely, if you want to think always about the positive aspect of any kind of case study, there is always a positive, positive momentum from it. But you have to have the right level of commitment, basically.
No, I love the fact that you said you didn't understand anything that was happening. It didn't make sense to you whatsoever.
Exactly.
But you had to watch and learn.
Exactly.
Basically,
it's
how
one
the
of
whole
the
thing was.
excellent learnings there, because at that time, how can you believe, and at also such a young age, you're seeing this experience in front of you? There's no way that it will make sense after a couple of years. And you don't have the patience. At that young age, you don't have the patience to wait for a couple of years. You want to always have a quick wins. You want to have you are short-sighted always. So I think that comes with age and experience.
Absolutely. Wallah, that's an interesting story. I'm probably, Ajal, what is a story that you can tell us that you are most proud of?
So this is definitely one of the
but
things.
this was a pure challenge. Something you, Abdulhameed, you are very proud of, something that you feel was like, I'm sure, mashallah, there's a whole lot. But if you can tell us one specific story that you feel that it was an obstacle, you overcame it, wala it was a new initiative, a new idea that nobody was convinced about.
Yes. I think one of the things that I'm proud of is actually every time I go to a new challenge, which is a quite big challenge, I take it and then I deliver on it. So starting from when I was working in the corporate finance, as I mentioned to you, and then I moved to run a project, which is a renewable project. At that time, just to give you a bit of sense, at that time, ACWA Power never executed a solar photovoltaic solar project. So it was the first PV project that we do as ACWA Power, and from taking it from construction to operation, coming from a finance background, if you can imagine. So it was extremely challenging to, but thanks to the trust of the management and then the strength of my team that support me to take that challenge. We went through different sites to understand how they do it. We build up the right team, the right structure, the right partners to deliver it. But as after 2 years reflecting and deliver the project ahead of schedule with cost underrun, performance is great. Then you reflect on it. It's definitely I'm proud of. And similarly, also the next step, I took another project, and then moving to the CFO function of extremely complex company like ACWA Power. Of course, it is always a difficult move to do in the beginning, a lot of pressure. But as you reflect, ultimately, I'm definitely very proud of these moves that I'm making, and it's progressing in the right direction.
MashaAllah, with every right to be. With every right to be, MashaAllah.
Thank you.
So you thrive on challenges. Yani, you don't take no for an answer. You want to succeed in it, and you will do everything to make sure that you do. Now, you said when it comes to a family and the kids and kiddas, okay, yani you're letting each one and to do as how they feel and their capabilities, etc. But as your team, do you find yourself your leadership method with them is putting these high expectations and the challenges that you want to make sure that you overcome, you're putting this also as well on them? How are you dealing with that?
So the way that at least I designed with the team is with the clear objectives from the beginning of the year. I know exactly what we need to deliver in this year, and I put it up front as a target for them, because it's definitely joint between me and them as a target, but they will have to drive it. Depending on the individual, you do a different level of checking in, different level of support. You have, and this is part of what you mentioned about emotional intelligence. I think this is part of the things that you will do differently from each individual leader. Some of them, they like you to call them every couple of days, talking about it, even though that they are driving it. But if he doesn't get these calls, he feels that it's not any more important. You are not supporting him. You are not checking in. So he will be basically slowing down on it. He will take less interest out of it. Some of them, they focus fully on it, but there is specific things that they cannot do it without you, like talking to a specific partner, stakeholder, fronting them in specific meetings. So there is kind of certain milestone they will need you to support them, and then the rest will continue. Some of them, no, you have to do it almost like in a bi-weekly meeting with their team to make sure that everyone actually are moving in the right direction. So depending on the individual, you do the different check-in point and different check-in method. But ultimately, target should be clear from the beginning, quantifiable, measurable, and you do at least a couple of check-in as you progress. That's how I do it.
MashaAllah. So you incorporate a lot of emotional intelligence in it, and a lot of human aspects, right? You said beautifully, the most important asset are the people.
Correct.
And you're obviously focusing a lot on the people.
Yeah, and you have to push yourself, by the way. And maybe it's not my character, by the way. And I have this long calls with people and talk. I'm not that guy, I actually like it to be very short, quick to the point, and close. But you have to do it for some people because they need it. And this is let's say, this is something that you have to fuel to get the
best out of them.
Exactly.
To get the best out of them.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do things not that whatever you like, but whatever the others like, just to make sure
What
that
they
they're
need.
moving exactly what they
Yeah,
need. Yes,
what they
thank you.
need. Yeah. So the energy sector, it's undergoing a massive transformation, and now in the kingdom, where we have diversed from being, purely oil generating to renewable energy, and to having obviously all this direction globally. How do you feel about that, being ACWA Power playing one of the largest roles in the kingdom and internationally, but with the Vision 2030?
It's a great question. Alhamdulillah, today, ACWA Power is a national champion when it comes to the energy transition. So we started quite early, winning the first independent water and power plant in Saudi Arabia back in 2004. And we continue to partner with the government in executing critical projects when it comes to power and water. We have prepared ourselves very well for this moment when it came, meaning that we have built a lot of renewable projects outside of Saudi before the first project came to Saudi, which is Skaka. Of course, there was a small pilot project here and there before that, but the first large-scale project was Skaka, which we've been executing, and we delivered it. And thereafter,
Which was the capacity of...
It was a big one at that time, but it's now small to consider. It was 300 megawatt. Today, all the projects we are doing is on the scale of 1.5 to 2 gigawatt, which is 1,500 to 2,000 megawatt. So today we are very proud that part of Vision 2030 is delivering 50% renewable of the total capacity by 2030. And the remaining 50% will be high-efficient gas-fired power plants.
Mm-hmm.
And we are driving today 70% of the renewable portfolio, together with PIF and Aramco. So that's where we are very much proud to lead the energy transition, capitalizing on the experience we built internationally, the local capacity, and so far, alhamdulillah, today we are more than ahead of the program, and we continue to deliver these projects. So definitely this, I will say, energy transition, it's quite important element of the Vision 2030 targets. And we continue to build, by the way, both sides, the renewable, but also the gas-fired power plants, which is the high-efficient gas-fired power plants.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah, you're working on the largest giga projects. But my question then is, where do you see the opportunities for the SMEs, for the small and medium companies, and for startups in this domain, in the energy domain?
Well, you will be impressed. And usually entrepreneurs always come with ideas and they know how to knock the right door. So I can tell you any real stories that today I know people that they leveraged on this trend when it comes to renewables to work on the sites of the renewables, but not for us as ACWA Power, which is the big developer. They go a couple of steps down and say, okay, ACWA Power have appointed a Chinese contractor or an Indian contractor on this specific site. This contractor is focusing on the substation and the large-scale, let's say, activities. But in the solar field, he comes with his a small company, SME. He have 4 or 5 piling machines, and he take sub-scope of the Chinese or the Indian contractor, and he starts working in the project with this 4 or 5 machines. So that's kind of a big part of the SMEs, is that actually the subcontracting activities for the construction and execution of these projects. I have seen other Saudis who are mainly, I think, similar to what you are doing when it comes to the environmental studies and activities related to ESG. A lot of scope also goes from the EPC contractor to these consultancies to close all the points related to the environmental aspect of these projects. So that's on the construction, on the ESG part, so the EPC, the ESG. When it comes to the engineering, to be honest, I don't see it much going to SMEs. It's mainly large companies that focus mainly in the engineering part of it, but you see a lot of local companies. So maybe not specifically for the big project that we have, but I see a lot of EPC contractors are working with the local engineering firms on the detailed designs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the opportunities are there. It's just that where to tackle and how to tackle it. Otherwise, the potential is huge. طبعا you start to go slightly bigger than SMEs. You see big opportunities for the manufacturing side of it. So today, all the steel structures are actually coming from Saudi companies. Some of them are listed companies like Yamama, Wabtain and others.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the cabling work is done by Saudi companies. Substation activities is done by local Saudi companies, subcontracted on the construction, but actually the transformers coming from Saudi market. So when I see the renewables today, except for the PV panels that's actually still being produced internationally, and the inverters, the rest is mostly local. So there is a big part, and localization ratio in this project continue to increase from time to time, which means that it gives more opportunities for Saudi companies, Saudi, let's say, businesses to get part of these activities.
MashaAllah. La, thank you. There, as you said, it's something that forever will be needed. Population is growing. With the AI and everything that's happening, energy will be needed more than ever. And renewable energy obviously is very important because climate change is not a joke. It's real. It's happening. We're feeling it around the world. And so it is important then to make sure that we have the renewable energy we need to make it sustainable, that we want our generations and the generations to come and our kids' kids to live in a comfortable, friendly environment, and at the same time have the luxury of clean energy and clean everything. So that being said, there's a lot of opportunities, Lisa, for different startups, for different new ideas, new concepts that are constantly be rising. I think I would like to open the opportunity because I know that there are lots of questions that I know our attendees would love to ask you. So I'm gonna shift here's the mic.
Amazing and inspiring story. Allah يديك الصحة والعافية. Couple of things, just one thing to ask. I think you're the last leaders mic in 2025. So how would you summarize 2025 in one word? And what do you look for in 2026 in one word too?
That's a tricky question because I ask you the same thing for next week. Can I do it with more than one word, or it has to be one word?
Up to you.
Okay. So, look, to be honest, I was scared in the beginning of 2025. It was a very challenging start of the year. As I reflect, and today we are in the last 2 weeks of the year, I think it was exceptional year at least for us and for the country, to be honest. A lot of project deliveries has been achieved, despite all the challenges we have seen when it comes to the geopolitical risk. We became very much resilient, ambitious. We continue to push all the targets to be delivered. It's only 5 years left to Vision 2030 targets, and we delivered in a lot of these targets already. So extremely impressive year. Very much proud of what we have achieved collectively as a nation. And linking it to 2026 and beyond, very much optimistic to deliver on these targets. Opportunities are huge. And we are living in one of the best timing. And I always say, to be honest, to everyone I see, that we never had a plan that is extended that long. And that is as ambitious as what we have seen in this Vision 2030 targets. There is opportunities in every sector. There is a merit for public-private partnerships, which will unlock a lot of potential for the different sectors. There is already a belief in the story compared to the beginning of the story. So when we started, when the Vision 2030 started, not everyone was on board, and there was a lot of confusion. That confusion is done, and today is at that time when you ask people, they say some people say yes, some people say there is no way. Today, when you ask people, they said all of them. They said yes. Some people say 2030. Some people say 2031. So it's a matter of time, not a matter of anything else. So, with that in mind, the opportunities are just exceptional. And when you look around you, and when I say around you, it's just like the horizon in the Middle East. If you need to look at Europe, it's a big messed up. There is no potential. There is no growth. Factories are closing. Population are aging compared to what you see here. The opportunities, everyone is really dreaming to have what we have here in Saudi. So I would recommend to everyone that don't wait. If you have been waiting for so long. I think the opportunity is there. Just take it and carry forward. There is huge potential in all the sectors that we are seeing.
I love your story, and I love the specific aspect that you mentioned around how you had to sell an idea that you weren't fully convinced of. And as you progressed, I'm sure as you progressed within your career, you've really enhanced your ideas, you've come up with your own. Do you have an example of where you came up with an idea that your team was really not sold on and you had to convince them to sell it and to really drag that forward? And I would love to know what other ambitions do you have for building something unique since you've been exposed to so much of these different industries? Thank you.
Very good point you have highlighted. And I will link it a bit on the culture. If I see the culture of my father, if I see the culture of my chairman, and then their generation, they don't tell you the full story. They say a few words, and then you have to understand yourself. And they will keep you in the dark until you know it. So that's the way that they put the vision, and they let you go without full clarity. And you cannot ask questions at that time because that's also part of the culture, that don't ask, just follow, accept and follow. That culture has changed today, which is making believing in the strategies, I believe personally, easier and more straightforward. For example, as I told you, and you are absolutely right, that I was carrying a story or a strategy or a vision that I did not believe in it fully, but I have to execute it. Today, I actually make sure that my team understand it very well before they take it forward. So actually, I spend a lot of time on the why. So this is the direction, why we are doing it. Showing them the big picture. A lot of people do not, you will be surprised on how much of your team will be missing the big picture. So you have to continuously refresh their mind what is the big picture and how to deliver on it. You have to explain the why, you have to explain how, you have to explain step by step, and you have to show them progress. So every time we sit, by the way, do you remember 2 years ago we said we want to deliver? This is how we delivered compared to 2 years ago. They see the progress, they get satisfied, they get comfortable, then they continue with you. So that's how differently, at least I'm doing it compared to how it being done at that time. Different times, different purpose, different methods. Doesn't mean that the old school did not work, because the old school did work, but maybe I did not understand it, but it worked. And the new strategy also worked. When it comes to your question, and actually it's an interesting story, because our chairman always do not want you to think too much outside of what you are doing. He wants us to make sure that we actually think only of ACWA Power and delivering it. So whenever you have a space, he will fill it directly with the new ambition. And then later on, actually, as I reflect with the years, in the beginning, of course, at your early stage of your experience, you always think that I have to deliver something that I created in terms of strategy, in terms of direction, in terms of company. That was my belief at the beginning. But then, as I reflect with time, I felt that, by the way, there is a lot of other great ideas that if you believe in it, why not actually help delivering these ideas? Because without the right people, they will not deliver. This is exactly what happened to me, that I was completely buying into the direction of the company and the strategy. And I took it in myself that I need to help the company delivering this. The big, let's say, vision or strategy I have is actually the company strategy, and to execute that. I don't need to think too much about anything else, because this by itself, it's a national transformation. You cannot think about any legacy that you can keep after that better than this. And it does not have to be a legacy that you put your name on it, that you are the one who have thought about it, or you're the one that executed. It's a collective effort. It's being a lot of people that work together and deliver it. And that's really what's matter, that when the nations and the next generations comes, they see something that it was better than what we left before we joined there.
What about setbacks? Sometimes you get setbacks in terms of the deliverables that you have, maybe an issues and managing the team during that time is usually tough.
Maybe I link it also to a story, because always best thing is to share a story, and then you can reflect on how we managed it. And I remember, that actually we went through an IPO journey 3 times in the last 10 years. The first one, I worked a lot with the team on the file. It was, because now our IPO was 4 years ago. So this one maybe 10 years ago. Extensively worked on the file. And at that time, there was, we knew from the beginning that there is one waiver that we need to our file to be accepted by the CMA. And internally, for some reason or another, we always felt that waiver, we will get it. So based on which we hired the advisors, we worked on the file, we submitted after extensive 8-month work, and we were extremely happy that this is finally unlocking the potential of the company by listing it. And then after, actually in the day of the submission, we get a call that there is a major non-compliance of this, and he said, yeah, we will like to get a waiver, and they said, no, there is no way on earth you're getting that waiver. Come take your file. So we've been kicked out, and we left that journey, which is an extremely disappointed after 8 months of work. And we thought that this is the end of it, because in all our strategy and plan, this is the right time for the company to be listed. Fast forward also, after 2 years, something similar happened, but it was not a waiver that we asked for. It was at the time of we submit the file, then something different happened. Not to disclose the details of it, but something happened that we end up not being allowed as a management team to proceed with the file. So it was another setback and disappointed. And then fast forward to 4 years ago, when the right time came, and we finally get listed as a company. And this is the 3rd attempt for us. And everyone see it as the first attempt. Nobody knows that it was 3 attempts. And you saw the performance of the IPO. It was one of the best IPOs in the history of the market, from a subscription point of view, from a performance, from all the different angles. So, زي ما يقولون الحمد لله كل تأخيرة فيها خير. We never thought about it this way. So thanks God that it was rejected twice. We built up a better story. We built up a better capabilities. We built up a better performance portfolio that we end up doing the best IPO later on. Setbacks at that time was a lot of disappointed, a lot of things that we have to reshuffle completely, because we were depending on that cash to deliver and pay certain debt, to deliver certain commitment. So we have to leverage our balance sheet again. Sometimes we have to do a capital raise before the IPO to raise the capital and convince the shareholders. So there was a lot of dynamics changed. Team is disappointed. The 3rd time we went and did the IPO, the team did not take it seriously, because they said, guys, how many times you go for a IPO readiness for an IPO, but we will not deliver. We know you guys just playing game with us. They think that it's a joke. So yeah, so how to gain the trust of the team, after 2 times failure. So it was so that's one of the experiences of setback. I think what really resonates well with me is that for every failure, try to capture the best lesson learned, and be patient. Hopefully something will later better come, and it will come later on at the right time. and you will basically get whatever you want to get at that time.
MashaAllah. Thank you, Abdulhameed. I think on that note, يعني we will say that ختامه مسك. لأنه that was I think a spectacular wisdom that you shared. And thank you for sharing your journey. Thank you for sharing your experiences. There was a lot of learnings, a lot of wisdom, whether that you have learned and some that you yourself have just given. So I think that we look forward to a lot of people listening in and learning from this experience. Once again, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
sharing this, for the clarity, for showing how resilience and patience is very important. For showing how challenging yourself and getting out of your comfort zone is very important.
Thank you, really. Thank you very much, first of all, for giving me the opportunity and for insisting for not only me, but for the rest of the leadership team to come and share their story.
Everyone has, well, hardly by force.
ultimately, it's a great, I would say, learnings that we will share with our peers, our partners, the younger generation, that they will basically capture on it, take whatever they think is relevant, and build on it. So really appreciate it.
الحمد لله. وهذا علم ينتفع به. يعني you look at it that way. لأنه فعلا يعني you leave a legacy. You said very humbly that leaving a legacy is not necessarily having something written in your name or that it is narrated or by yourself, which is actually very refreshing, because most of the people have the feeling and tendency that they want to leave a legacy. It has to be their own creation, their own. But you just showed that you can leave a legacy that is going to be very impactful and with a positive impact, but it's not necessarily yours on your own. It's a collective and a collaborative approach. So thank you also for pointing that out. It's a different kind of legacy that I think is actually a bigger impact at the end of the day.
Thank you.
فشكرا. Thank you. يعطيك العافية. Thank you for everyone that attended. We're happy for obviously your questions are always an added value. And thank you for everyone that's listening. Stay tuned for more conversations with our Saudi leaders, Shaping Vision 2030. And until next time, keep advancing responsibly. Thank you.
Thank you.